By the time I got to Stanford, I'd already left Islam behind conceptually, and I was actually very deeply involved in Eastern mysticism. By the end of my freshman year, I'd gone over to India and I'd studied in an ashram on the outskirts of Bombay. I'd been licensed to teach classical yoga, which I did during my sophomore year back at Stanford. So my mind and heart at that point were immersed in Eastern mystical thought. And I was also a philosophy major at Stanford, which was all fueled by my own search for truth. Now, I think if you'd met me back then, Charles, you would have thought me a very confused young man. Well, after my sophomore year, I was back in Arabia for the summer, and with a lot of other returning students from college of the families that worked for the oil company. And I met a young woman who was a Christian, and we started dating. And, we fell into love. I remember Billy Graham once talking about young love, and he said it was just puppy love, but it was very real to the puppies. And so we thought about age 19, the possibility of getting married. And but she said to me, I could never marry you because you're not a Christian. And I said to her, well, I could never become a Christian just to marry you. I mean, how can you decide about the realities of the universe on the basis of your hormones? So we decided we would continue to date, but then at the end of the summer we'd go our separate ways, and that was a good makeshift decision. Only her college started about a month before mine did, so by the end of August she was back at her school, Ouachita Baptist University in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, and I was sitting in Arabia twiddling my thumbs. So I made the decision that I would leave Arabia early and head back to Stanford, go across country from east to west, and I'd stop in Arkansas and surprise her and stay a few days. Well, I did do that. Ended up staying about 3 weeks, and it was there at this Christian university that I saw for the first time a community of people who were living in such a way that the love they demonstrated towards one another and towards me as an outsider reflected what I knew in my bones was the way human beings were supposed to live, the kind of love that we're supposed to have for one another, giving with no strings attached. And of course, it wasn't perfect, but it was a far sight better than anything I'd ever seen. And I would, as I got to know people and I saw them doing kind acts for others, I'd go up to them and I'd ask them, why did you do that? It might have been giving somebody a flower, or writing a little note of thanks, or buying them a little gift or something. And when I'd ask them, they would always talk about Jesus in their hearts. And I would say to them, I'm not interested in the religious stuff. I just want to know where you get the power to love people like that. And they kept talking about Jesus as the source of that. And so that was when I decided, here's enough evidence that I need to take seriously their claim, and I need to find out about who this Jesus is. And that started my searching, then reading the Gospels for the first time in my life at age 20, and being confronted by the figure of Jesus in the Gospels, which was just so compelling. When I got to the end of the Gospel of John, I felt like I was servicing back into this world after being immersed in the world of the Bible. And I thought to myself, I've never come across, in all of my philosophy studies and religious studies, I've never come across anyone like this man Jesus. And if there's ever anyone worth giving your life to follow, it would have to be this man. And I knew that the Christians were saying, well, that's because he's not just a man, he's also God. But that seemed to me too far-fetched at the time. But I didn't care at that point. I just said, I want to know more about this man. He has the keys to life, and I want to learn from him.